And good morning. We are with you today on For Your Health presentation of Medica Pharmacy with two convenient locations, Bardstown and Shepherdsville. And Allison is in the studio with us today, pre-recorded, we might add. And today, what are we talking about?
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about how a lot of people tend to make New Year's resolutions.
Oh, yeah.
They want to eat better. They want to exercise more. They probably want to lose weight. And that resolution, on average, lasts about 2 to 3 weeks at the most.
Well, looking at the calendar, it's about over then.
It's almost over, so I thought it'd be a good time to kind of talk about this. This weight loss. Everybody, there's millions and millions of dollars in weight loss products sold every year. Everybody wants to lose weight, and so I thought we might just touch on that a little bit today.
Okay. Because there are some keys and some simpler things to do.
There are.
They improve the ability of it to last longer than 2 to 3 weeks.
Exactly. Well, and it's frustrating for a lot of people. They try and they can't lose weight, or they lose a couple pounds and they gain it back, or they just can't, get over that plateau that they hit. So I wanted to touch base on that to tell people that, sometimes it's a little more complicated than what you eat. Everybody fusses at you, what are you eating? What are you eating? Eat low fat, eat this. You get so many different diets out there, and who knows really what to do, but maybe it's really not all your diet. I mean, some people have a really sluggish metabolism. Sometimes it's due to a thyroid disorder. Sometimes it's due to what you're eating or what you're not digesting. And, we've talked about digestion before, but you cannot lose weight if you're not eating good nutrition. And the reason for that is you can't build muscle. Your muscles are what burns the fat that you need to lose. And a person who has more muscle mass than fat is going to, even just sitting down, burn more calories and have a higher metabolism than an overweight person is. So you need to address that. And a lot of people are given stimulants. Well, those work, but as soon as you come off of them, you probably gain those weights back, because those can make you anxious. They can disrupt your sleep, which can keep you from losing further weight. But pretty much once you stop those stimulant drugs for weight loss, you're going to, get that poor, slow metabolism back. So eventually you're going to gain that weight back. And that's very frustrating for people.
We can kickstart our metabolism each morning. When we get up, we should eat something. Is that
you
correct?
Should eat something.
Is that what it does? Kickstart?
It does. Yeah, it does. Your breakfast is your most important meal. And I mean, I'd say probably 8 out of 10 people I talk to about wanting to lose weight, they don't eat breakfast. I mean, you have to have something, a glass of water, something small. But then a lot of people mistakenly think, well, I want to eat something good for me, so I'm going to go and I'm just going to have a banana and a glass of water. Well, bananas are probably one of the most fattening, sugary fruits you can eat.
Really?
They are. I'm not saying that they're awful for you, but if you want to lose weight, eating lots of fruits is not the way to go, because there's so much sugar in a lot of the fruits out there. And the first thing you burn off when you try to exercise is sugar. So you don't ever get to the fat part that needs to be burned off. And so you need to eat more vegetables than fruits. But the key is protein. You cannot, like I said, if you want to increase your metabolism, you got to increase your muscle mass. You cannot increase your muscle mass if you're not eating good protein, or maybe you're eating plenty of protein, because the average American eats steaks and burgers and chicken, eggs, whatever you want to have that, lots of meat products that have protein, but you can't digest that protein and your body can't use it correctly, then you have to address that. So, as we age, we don't digest our foods very well. So maybe you're not breaking those proteins down to where your body can use them. So, a lot of this can be addressed to get you to digest those proteins and put them to use so that you can help to lose weight.
And what do we use to do that?
Really, digestive enzymes. Sometimes as you're younger, something as simple as putting lemon in your water to increase your stomach acid to help break that down. But pretty much, I know for women, it's at about age 35, your stomach acid starts to decrease. And so that's when you start to notice that certain foods make you bloat or belch, or you feel full, or you're kind of indigestion. It's because you don't have those enzymes that you need to. A lot of people don't have gallbladders anymore. You're missing a very key, important part of your digestion if you don't have a gallbladder. So there are a couple different enzymes that you can take. The one we recommend the most is a product called Panplex. And you take 2 with meals, and it basically replaces 2 or 3 enzymes plus a little bit of stomach acid to break that food down. And we've had great success with getting people to not bloat, not belch. And the biggest thing is you can tell is a lot of women are like, my nails are starting to grow back. My hair is no longer falling out. Well, poor hair and poor nails or hair loss, especially in women, is a sign that you're not digesting your food. And so you can't absorb those nutrients, and so your hair and nails can't grow. And so, it ties in with weight loss too, but that's the biggest key is we get people on a digestive enzyme and maybe a good multivitamin, and all of a sudden your hair and nails are better.
So
plus you're losing weight.
There's a symptom or an outward sign, as they say, that we can tell if we've got something going on.
Right.
What if your nails grow rapidly? And your wife always complains about
Then why don't you cut your nails more often? Then probably you have, good nutrition. And some people are blessed with really good, some women hate that. Golly, you have really great nails, and that's not fair. But usually when your nails are growing good and they're strong and they're not cracking or ridged, then, you probably have decent absorption of your nutrients. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So, but, you've got to look at the protein. I know everybody is so tired of hearing eat low fat, eat low fat, eat low fat. And I know I had a radio show where we talked about if you eat low fat all the time, you're actually slowing your metabolism down because you're eating nothing but carbohydrates. You're increasing your fat cells over your muscle cells, but you cannot absorb your fat-soluble nutrients. So everybody's on vitamin D anymore. You can't absorb vitamin D if you're not eating fat in your diet because it's a fat-soluble vitamin. So you have to eat good fat. So, and, I know people say don't eat bacon, it's bad for you, but, it's a natural food. And, I would rather you eat bacon than go to McDonald's and get a hamburger. And I'm here to tell you that I know that there are plenty of people out there that eat lots of bacon and eggs that don't eat processed foods, and because everybody worries about cholesterol, and your cholesterol's fine. And I've talked about it before. Again, processed foods is where you get in the inflammation around the processed foods it creates is where your body creates that cholesterol. So, bacon and eggs are not a bad thing. Get up and have some bacon and eggs for breakfast. If you're a little prone, I don't want to do bacon and eggs, that's just a little bit too much for me. A great, really healthy breakfast is to get some like berries and blueberries, raspberries, strawberries. Because if you're going to eat fruit, berries are your best ones because they're your lowest sugar fruits.
I was getting ready to ask you about their sugar.
Yeah, lowest sugar fruits are your berries and your melons. And so get some berries and throw in a handful of chopped pecans, chopped walnuts, macadamia nuts, and you get really good fats and proteins from those nuts. Because when you eat a banana, you're not getting any protein out of it.
Potassium, that's about it. I mean, besides the sugar.
That's it. Yeah, there's, there are some vitamins and minerals, and you get some of your vitamin A's and your vitamin K's and different vitamins out of those fruits, but you're getting lots of sugar. So you've got to balance some protein because protein's what keeps you full for a little while. And so if I eat a banana right now in 15, 20 minutes, I'm going to be hungry and I'm going to want something else. And so I didn't really burn off what I ate, and it didn't fully complement what I needed to get my body, but it's not going to help me lose weight.
Now, you guys have the Take Charge program, and you have a shake. We'll call it shake, but a drink. Is that got a lot? Some of the things we're talking about, the proteins and
it does have good protein, and we actually have just added a second. Actually, two different powders. One's a physician's whey protein powder, so it is more geared for people that are exercising a lot and trying to really build the muscle mass. It has 1 gram of sugar in it. The other one is a weight manager protein, and it is designed to, if you cannot eat well, if you feel like you're always eating out because you're always on the go, it is designed to kind of, like the Take Charge shake, replace that meal. It has quite a bit less sugar than the Take Charge shakes. I've tried them both. They both are good. The Take Charge shake is more filling. It stays with you longer. It's 240 calories, and it's got lots of vitamins and minerals. The Integrative Weight Manager protein also has a lot of minerals and vitamins and has 130 calories. It has only 2 grams of sugar. I think Take Charge has 20. So it is a less sugar thing if you really are trying to cut your sugars and look at your calorie intake. And it doesn't stay with you as long. I like to mix it with like unsweetened. I have the vanilla powder. I mix it with unsweetened almond milk that's chocolate. So it doesn't have any added sugars in it. Or I mix it with unsweetened coconut milk and then throw in like kale and berries and put it in a blender and make a shake. Now that one was very filling and very thick when I added the kale and the berries and some ground flax to it. And you don't think kale's going to be very good, but honestly, I mean, yes, it was a green kind of strange colored drink, but unless you really took a big whiff of it to smell what was in it, and even that, it didn't smell bad. It still smelled like vanilla, but you really couldn't taste that there was kale in it. So, threw that kale in there to give, a little bit of the extra vitamin K's and calciums from the green leafy vegetables. A lot of people don't care for green leafy vegetables, but if you can blend it up and mix it with some berries and never know it's there, it's good for you. So.
Now, we're trying to do things that are easy to remember. Are the darker the vegetables, the color of the vegetables, the better, like the green leafy stuff, better than the light leafies.
When it comes to lettuce, yes.
Yeah,
Iceberg lettuce you might as well just be sipping on a glass of water. There's really no nutritional value to it. Yeah. So, definitely go towards the darks, the kales, the spinach, the red leaf lettuces. Those are much, much better for you.
That's what I was told.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then, I want to touch on one other thing that a lot of people, as they're trying to lose weight, we talk about sleep. You've got to get a good night's sleep to lose weight. But the other thing that affects people is you have so many people who are like, I try it, but man, I crave sweets. I crave breads. I can't, no matter how hard I try, I can't give them up. Mm-hmm. A lot of people have a yeast overgrowth in their intestine. Well, the minute you think of yeast, you think of women and yeast infections. Now, yes, those can be related, but this is actually yeast in your intestinal tract. We tend to have a lot of antibiotics in our food supply, and we tend to use antibiotics every time we get a runny nose. So you're killing off your good bacteria in your intestine. So one, this is going to keep you from absorbing your proteins out of your meals, but you tend to allow those bad bacteria to overgrow. And so then you crave this stuff because that yeast in your intestine is stealing your nutrients. And most people with yeast, we have a questionnaire that can tell you if maybe you might have a yeast overgrowth, but typically things like you might crave sweets, you might be irritable, you might be moody, maybe you feel bloated, you're tired, you constantly want either bread, sugar, or alcohol, one of the three, maybe all of the above. But there's this whole list of symptoms, and once you kill that yeast off in your intestines, usually within about 48 hours, you don't crave the sugar, you don't crave the breads. And a couple of people that we've done that with, within that first week, have dropped 5 to 7 pounds just from killing that yeast off, because they harbor so much inflammation around them and so much stuff that they're making you crave. You get rid of those sugars and all that stuff that they're wanting you to eat, you can lose weight fairly rapidly.
So how do we kill the yeast off?
There's actually a product called Yeast Formula. Okay. So you take the quiz. It's a 2-page quiz, and you add up the points. And depending on what you score is, probably you don't. Maybe you do. You probably do. We treat the top 2 for sure. And the hardest part for doing that yeast formula is that you cannot eat any sugar, any processed carbs, or drink any alcohol while you're on it. And honestly, after about the first 2 days, you don't want that stuff. But there are a lot of people that like their evening glass of wine. And so it is hard to 2 weeks, not any wine at all. So I have a couple of friends that did it, and they're like, when can I have my glass of wine? And I'm like, not yet. You'll make it. You can have it in 2 weeks. But it does make a big difference in how you feel to kill off all that bad stuff that's basically stealing your nutrition from you.
Now, I think I heard you say that a lot of that comes from the antibiotics that are given to these chickens and cows. And so I'll go back and ask, there's a lot of places now that sell free range, natural, whatever term.
No hormones, yes.
No hormones.
Yeah.
Should we spend a little extra money to go that route?
You really should. And definitely with the meats, try to get hormone-free, steroid-free, antibiotic-free, organic meats as much as you can. And I am a fan of organic foods. Now, not everything needs to be organic. You can get on the computer and search the Dirty Dozen. Things like, I love avocados. Well, you're eating the inside of the avocado. They're very resistant. So there's lots of foods, asparagus, very resistant to pesticides and different things. So you can look on the internet and find if you wanted to start to try to eat organic, where do you need to spend your money and where do you really not need to, because they don't have to use chemicals on these type of foods. So that'll help save you money. But with the meats, definitely. And you can typically find hormone-free chickens at the groceries. I always get all my stuff at either 2 places, either Boone's in town, or I go to Louisville and go to either Whole Foods or Earth Fare, because they have all organic meat. So I can't say that Boone's has organic meat. I know their meats are delicious. But I know they're local. And so that would just probably be a question to ask Jerry one day when you're down there is, are any of their meats organic or no hormones, and see. So. But it's tough. It's tough in this environment that we live in to find good foods. And there are hidden fats and sugars in everything. So, you feel like you're doing the right thing. And then you really find out that, there's so much sugar in whatever you're eating, you had no idea. And so, look at those grams of sugar. Those little packets of sugar that are on the tables when you go to restaurants, those are 4 grams. So if you look at something you're eating and it's got 30 grams of sugar, that's 7.5 packets. So you think, would I sit at the table and eat 7.5 packets of sugar? Probably not. So, look at those. We have about a 4-page handout at the pharmacy that really kind of talks about How long can you leave a vegetable out before it starts to lose its nutrition? You know, what's the best way to cook it? How much sugars and stuff? What to look for? You know, stop by and ask for the healthy diet information. We'll give that to you. If you want to do the yeast questionnaire to see if maybe your problem with losing weight is that you have a little yeast in your intestine, you know, we'll give you that. So don't hesitate to stop by and ask for that. We'll show you the weight loss powders. You know, you can buy the box of the Take Charge shakes. The other one comes in a big jug that has a scoop with it. So, you know, those are, we have a few people trying them now. We're getting some good feedback on the newer one. We have lots of people that like to Take Charge shakes. And I'd have to say, for me, I like both of them. But the one with the lower sugar, I think, would be the best bet for people that want to lose weight rapidly. Yeah.
And all this is at Medica Pharmacy. And what you mentioned at the onset is that exercise, building muscle, and of course people are like, well, I don't want to be a muscle, you know, weightlifter, but the benefits and of having muscle is the fact that it's going to burn.
It is. It is. I've got one of my staff members. I won't say her name, but if you come in the pharmacy lot, you'll probably know who I'm talking about. She's lost in the past few months between 25 and 30 pounds. And if you ask her what has she done, and she has been very good about her diet and watching what she eats, but she said, I've started lifting weights. Now, she's not a big muscular girl, but you know, even just a couple 2-3 pound weights just to tone those muscles up. I mean, she looks fantastic. I told her we're going to have to buy her, you know, smaller scrubs because, you know, she's gotten to where she's too little for the ones that we, you know, originally had gotten her. So she looks amazing. She's done great, but she'll tell you that using weights to tone her muscles has been the biggest thing she's done to lose weight. So, you know, muscle burns more than fat. So you've got to increase your muscle mass. So eating good proteins and using just some light weights to get those muscles moving and working. You know, you don't have to go run a marathon. You don't have to do crazy insanity or P90X. Go for a walk and, you know, carry some 2-pound weights and do some little lifts with them.
All right. Allison, anything else we need to cover, or just tell everybody how to find you guys at Medica?
We're on the corner of 4th Street and Stephen Foster here in Bardstown, and on Highway 44 West in Shepherdsville, just across the railroad tracks across from Publishers. And it's going to be really, really cold next week. So just remember, you do burn more calories in the cold than the hot. So, you know, I don't know if you're going to catch me walking at 15 degrees. I'm pretty sure. But, you know, get out there in the weather before it gets really cold and stay bundled up next week.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.